Hello and welcome back to our class of the 72 Name of God, where we discover more information about each of the combinations that correspond with a particular week or days. And for this week, the corresponded combination is Lamed Aleph Vav. Many of you knows this combination as referred to remove our ego. And if we look at the interpretation in our books, etc., it's called the Great Escape. And of course, when we're talking about the Great Escape, what we are escaping from and what we're escaping to, but mainly what we are escaping from. We may escape from the painful reality that we experience. We may escape from different challenges that we're going through. But mainly what we use to escape is acting with lack of human dignity, with judgment, with reactiveness of any sort, that it's really our ego. But let's learn a little bit more about Lamed Aleph Vav and to understand from the portion of Be'alutcha, there's a beautiful lesson that I think can really give us insight of Lamed Aleph Vav and how we can really apply it into our life. It says in this portion about Aaron, the brother of Moses, and it says, ויעש כן אהרון אל מול פני המנורה, העלה את נרותיה כמו שהשם ציווה את משה. We still want to remember that we're in this month of duality, the month of Sivan, Gemini, and really what we can see here, like the story of the walking again in the desert, and there's the ark that his purpose was to be really the channel to unify the Israelite to all the metaphysical forces that they didn't have, like to overcome any form of fear and doubt and war. And yet we already learned and discussed it, that regardless of the miracles that I've experienced, the Israelite had complained and there were conflict. And even if in the presence of the good, there was a separation. And no matter what the tools that they were given, even the blessing of the healing, El Narefan Allah, that came from Miriam, the sister of Moses, that could have really bring about healing to the world, but the Israelite couldn't tap into it. We cannot tap into the tools as long as there is separation. And the separation is from our action, from our ego, the ego that separates us from connecting. So when I go back to this verse of Vayas ken Aaron, and Aaron was given the instruction through Moses from God to light the candelabra and take candles of the candelabra. And the first point that the Kabbalists are referring to this verse is that Va'aron lo shina, which means Aaron did exactly what the Creator asked him to do. He was a pure channel. He knew exactly what he needed to do and what will take place and what the outcome of the action as he followed the instructions. Pure channel of the action of the creation. It was a pure light. He did everything that he was asked to do. Something else that we also see that relate to this verse is that the fact that the middle candle of the candelabra remain lit all the time. And it says, Lo nichba leolam, that it never like turned off. It says that the whole candelabra received the same amount of oil, and the middle candle also received the same amount of oil that needed to, in order to all the candles to be lit, But instead, for example, to be lit for like 12 hours only, it lasted and never changed. As long as Aaron served in the Holy of Holies, there was no change or transformation or any diminishing of the light of the middle candle that lit more than the rest of the candles in the candelabra. And it says that it was done because of Aaron. I want to read for you a section from the Zohar of Baalotcha to tap into this energy. Verse 48. And it says like this. רבי אלעזר אמר, היי פרשתה, איתמר עובדה דמנרתה ותיקונה, וכל מה דבה, אמר, אחי זמנה אחרא, אלא כיוון דנשיאים קרבו קורבנה דמדבחה, וכל תיקונה דאתחזה אליה, עתה קרב השתאה עובדה דמנרתה, די תיקונה על ידי דאהרון, דהה לעילה מנרתה, וכל בוצינה דילה על ידי דאהרון נהירין קולה. And it says that all the task of the candlestick and all the requirement preparation of it were already mentioned, and really about the work of Aaron. And what we see here, that the whole story of the lighting the candelabra is actually the correct, it was corrected based to Aaron, following Aaron, because it was a connection to Aaron. And only because of Aaron, the candles were lit from his consciousness as an energy of Aaron. Not just the physical candelabra lit, but it was also connected to the upper world candelabra that always lit. And it had the same image of the upper world candelabra. So we need to understand who is Aaron and what he represented, how it's all connected to Lamed Aleph Vav, right? Aaron represents the energy of peace. Kabbalists throughout time always spoke about peace as the total energy of the light of the Creator. And what Aaron represents is the ability to draw light with no interruption, with no limitation, with no lack that stops us and stop the light to come through regardless of the circumstance of life. As we can read, and you can read the verse in the Baalotcha in verse 11, it says is when a person comes to do an act in this physical world, he is liable, or it has to be connected with a light, with the energy force, to the intelligence that exists in the upper worlds, and only from joy and happiness that we can really draw this light into our life. And which means the Zohar is repeating the same idea, that there is a candle that is lit in the upper world and is lit forever, and the physical action where we are trying to, here in this physical world, whatever we do in order to connect with the light is awakened because of the upper worlds. So the Zohar is explaining here about two realities. The light that exists in the upper world, and a shape of the reality when you come to light, when you come to make an action. It's kind of like you turn off the light and you turn it on in the upper worlds. Like you turning it on. But in the upper worlds, the light is always lit. What's also allow us to light or manifest any form of action in this world. Basically, the light in the candelabra is coming to show us the options that we have in this world and how we can really enjoy the light. The Zohar explained that the revelation, or the way to reveal or transform or awaken, can appear in this physical world if there's a constant flow of abundance that comes from the upper world. So, when we talk about the upper worlds and we try to, I don't know how everyone is imagining ourselves, imagine what does it mean, upper world? It means really basically talking about the duality, the two realities that exist. Higher level reality, lower level reality. A reality that we can connect to all the good and positivity and abundance that exist, versus the upper world, another reality that it's opposite of that. And if the connection does not exist, if the connection with the light does not exist, there is nothing that can really manifest in the lower world. If we are not connecting to this upper world, to that consciousness, to everything, like whatever we do in the lower realm, doesn't matter. Many times we're saying a sentence in the 1% world, but the Zohar is saying here that the thought, like our intention, has to come from a deeper place. That we cannot afford ourselves to be superficial. We cannot afford ourselves to have a superficial thought. If you will think in a superficial way, you will not be able to ever connect with the abundance of the upper world and the good that the world wants to give us. This is a very powerful Zohar that, and shortly you'll see how it's connected with Lamed Aleph Vav. I think you start to understand just a little bit. We cannot be superficial, because otherwise we will not be able to, again, connect to any form of abundance or awaken any miracles of any kinds in our world. It's very clear that through this Lamed Aleph Vav combination, it wants to connect us with infinite forces that exist in a matter of consistency, with no change in the energy that we can tap into in every moment in our life. It seems like really the opposite of the life that we may live or what we have heard in the past. Because one of the things that we always keep trying to do, what is that? To transform, to change. But when we speak about the constant force that exists, that give us really form of all abundance all the time in our life, we don't really feel it. Second, there is nothing in our life that is consistent, because what we constantly wish is transformation and change, right? We seek to grow, we seek to evolve, we seek to reach to the next level. We constantly seeking for change. But what's beautiful about this is that there's a constant force that exists in this world that is only good and sharing and giving. But we are very excited and overly joyful when we go through a process. In a funny way, the change, the movement that supposedly awaken us, but not really in our life, we really excited about the change. But what we learn from this verse and the story of the candelabra lighting and the candle that is lit all the time is the understanding that it's all about the consciousness, right? Our consciousness is affected by things that are happening or something that took place, and then the change start to evolve. But did something really change because someone told me that something happened or something is lacking? Or is it something that really awakened from your own soul? Is it something reactive? If we understand that everything is really about the consciousness, all the changes that we do, really not relevant to our connection with the light of the Creator. And I'll explain. What we understand from this verse, from the Zohar, it speaks about a force of life that doesn't change ever. And in our life, there are events that constantly taking place, right? Something happened, and this said something, and this did something. There's constant things that are happening in our life. But what we are learning is that regardless of the stories that we are telling to ourselves, everything is the same. Regardless of what's taking place every day, all it's not relevant to the process of our correction. All the stories eventually are stories unless we have done something with our tikkun, with our correction, or with our consciousness. That I've done something matter to manifest the essence and the reasons that I came here to this world. Circumstances, situations can change. My correction, your correction will never change. The only change, in fact, that we would like to speak about, like our actions, is the actions that we need to do in order to really earn the light. When we are born with a gift or a talent or certain DNA or a desire that we came here to this life with, we are all the time wants to be in a place where we earn something that I've already received. Happy thoughts already created. Fulfillment is already created for each one of us. So when we say to change, is really a process of earning the light that already belongs to you, not to change circumstances or not to change situations. The force that does never change is our consciousness. This is our correction. Our tikkun never change. But there's another reality that taking place in our life. Oh, what happened today, and everything has happened for a reason, or I got fired, or this happened, and this someone says, this is a reality. This is why this verse that I share with you from the portion of Be'alotcha is allowing us in our spiritual way to understand that a lot of things are happening in our life, but our basic tikkun, our basic correction, never changes. And we need to find it in every reality. So things are never the same. But what's relevant is the question that we need to ask ourselves: how this connect to my tikkun? What this came to teach me? We need to find the way, that constant way to connect with the light. Kabbalists are explaining that only through this connection, that it's clear for them that the connection to the light is what's important. And the true reality is not changeable. There's a force that does not affected by external things that happen around us. It doesn't feel the same, and it's not controlling us, and it doesn't impact us. Yeah, one day we are a star, one day we are a falling star. One day we are number 1, one day we are number 10. But the correction remain the same. So all our reactiveness, acting with judgment and complaining and ego, is like connecting us to this changeable reality that taking us so much further from really earning the light that we already received. So circumstances are changing, but it doesn't change who you are, your essence. It's the same way like the candle in the middle of the candelabra that always lit. So the power this week with the Lamed Aleph Vav is to help us, to help each one of us to find this candle that is constantly lit within ourselves. This unchangeable force, regardless of what is taking place around us. How can I change? The question should be, what kind of work I need to do in order to earn the light that already exists within me? Not to escape it, but constantly asking, how can I change, and be in the process. Not to escape the tikkun, not to escape the correction. Rather ask what type of work I need to do, you need to do, in order to earn the light that already exists within you. More tips is like to ask yourself, what's the opposite of complaining? What's the opposite of complaining? Humbleness, being humble. Moses, it says on him, Va'ish Moshe anav me'od. Anav, it's written with the missing yud, the missing letter yud. And Rav Breinwein already shared about this, that when Moses needed to write down, he wrote the Torah, his hand was shaking and he missed the letter yud. The letter yud represents how we can live our life without this ego that blocking us from connecting to this light that's already within us. How we can connect internally to this light. So while we awaken in Lamed Aleph Vav, is to connect us to this candle that always lit in the upper worlds for us, this force of light that never changes, and we want to connect to it rather being reactive to all the external that taking place in our life. Thank you for joining me again today in this lesson, allowing me to study more, to learn more, to share with you. See you next week.